Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to our discussion on the principles of learning under the subject principles of teaching. Before we will delve into the discussion of on the principles of learning, let's discuss first how do we understand the term learning. Okay, so as defined, learning is the acquisition of a knowledge base used with fluency to make sense of the world, solve problems, and make decisions. So yun daw yung definition of learning. Now, let us break the long definition for analysis. No? So the keywords are acquisition. Okay? Acquisition of a knowledge base. That's the first keyword natin or keywords. And then the second one is fluency. Okay? That makes sense of the world. So these are the purposes of learning, no? Tatlo. To make sense of the world, solve problems, and make decisions. So the definition implies that learning begins with knowledge acquisition. And this knowledge learned must be used with ease or fluency because it has been mastered. And this knowledge is applied in problem solving, in decision making, and in making meaning of this world. So the knowledge that is just acquired without being utilized, yung knowledge na hindi nagagamit or hindi natin ginagamit, ang tawag doon ay inert ideas. Okay? When we say inert ideas, these ideas are merely received into the mind without being utilized or tested or thrown into fresh combinations. So, yan yung um, um, idea or yan yung concept or yung term na ginamit ni North Whitehead, no? Yung inert ideas. And there are really a lot of information that we are not using at all. So, ang tawag doon ay inert ideas. Okay? So, let's go to the first principle of learning. But let me remind you that learning discussing this to you, no, yung principles of learning, one of the significance of this, knowing the principles on how learning takes place, no, it will guide us as teachers on how to teach. Kaya natin to, kailangang pag-aralan yung mga principles of learning. So, these principles of learning, ito yung mga na-propose ni Horn and Pine 1990. Okay? So, the first principle is this: learning is an experience which occurs inside the learner and is activated by the learner. So the process of learning is primarily controlled by the learner and not by the teacher. So learning is not only a function of what a teacher does to or says to or provides for a learner. So learning has to do with something which happens in the unique world of the learner, and it flourishes in a situation in which teaching is seen as a facilitating process. Meaning to say, ang role ni teacher sa learning experience ng mga bata is to facilitate. Okay? And that, when we say facilitate, you assist the people to explore and discover the personal meaning of something. Okay? So that's principle number 1, no? Accordingly, no one directly teaches anyone anything of significance. Meaning to say, people learn what they want to learn, and they see what they want to see and hear what they want to hear. Okay? Yan yung principle under the first. Okay? So the next one is the principle number 2. Learning is the discovery of the personal meaning and relevance of ideas. Meaning to say, students more readily internalize and implement concepts and ideas which are relevant to their needs and problems. So learning is a process which requires the exploration of ideas in relation to self and community so that people can determine what their needs are and what goals they would like to formulate and what issues they would like to discuss and what content they would like to learn, no? So it's up to the learner kung kung gusto ba niyang matuto. Okay? So it's up to them if they will put relevance on the things that the teachers are trying to teach. However, yun nga, si teacher din, dapat it is necessary that teacher, i-relate din ni teacher yung lesson sa needs, sa interest, and the problems ng mga learners para makipag-engage din sila. Kasi when you teach them in a most relatable way, they will really listen. No? Yan yung nature ng mga bata. That once they are interested in something that you're saying, and then they will listen to you. No? That's the principle number 2. The next principle is learning behavioral change is a consequence of experience. No? So people become responsible when they have really assumed responsibility. They become independent when they have experienced independent behavior, right? And they become able when they have experienced success. And they begin to feel important when they are important to somebody. And they feel like they feel liked when someone likes them. So that's a human nature, no? People do not change their behavior merely because someone tells them to do so or tells them how to change. No? So for effective learning, giving information is not enough. Again, for effective learning, giving information is not enough. People become responsible and independent not from having other people tell them that they should be responsible and independent, but from having experienced authentic responsibility and independence. Okay, so that's it. So if experience is the best teacher, then a teacher should make use of experiential learning. And when you say experiential learning, those are yung mga learning na nakukuha nila through experience. Yan yung minimin natin sa experiential learning. Mas tumatatak sa utak nila yung mga experimentations because they get to experience the whole process, no? So that's it. Yan yung minimin natin sa principle number 3. Okay. So principle number 4 naman, learning is a cooperative and collaborative process. Cooperation fosters learning. I know you're familiar with this saying, no? Yung two heads are better than one. Meaning to say, people enjoy functioning independently, but they also enjoy functioning interdependently. Okay? So the interactive process appears to people's curiosity, potential, and creativity. No? So many times, you are reminded of something because of what you hear from the group, right? So yan yung working interdependently, not independently. Kasi when you say independently, ikaw lang yung gustong matuto or ikaw lang yung gustong gumawa ng something. No? But when you do learning, when you learn interdependently, you learn from your peers, you learn from your classmates, not just from the book, not just from the teacher, but also to your peers, no, or your friends. Okay, cooperative approaches are really enabling. No, through such approaches, people learn to define goals, to plan, to interact, and to try group arrangements. No, in problem solving. So, teacher should make use more of cooperative and collaborative approaches. No? Meaning to say, magpa-group work ka. No? Ikaw na teacher. Kasi minsan, most of the time, nagpa-function din yung utak ng mga bata kapag it's in a group work. No? And this way, students are taught to live together and learn interdependently. Okay. The next principle is learning is an evolutionary process. Meaning to say, the behavioral change na gusto nating mangyari sa mga bata requires time and patience. No? So, it takes time, no, to let them learn everything. Right? So, then as teachers and learners, let us learn to be patient. No? Things that are worthwhile in life take time. No? So, yun talaga. Um, Hindi pwedeng matuto agad yung bata sa complex thing, no? Sa complex na solving. He or she should learn first the basic. Yun yung minimin natin dito sa principle number 5. That learning is an evolutionary process. Before they know how to read, they need to know muna ano yung sounds ng letters. No? So, yan yung minimin natin sa principle 5. And that is why we as teachers, we really need to be patient to our students. Then in principle number 6, learning is sometimes a painful process. No, behavioral change often calls for giving up the old and comfortable ways of believing, thinking, and valuing. Minsan na-frustrate din tayo ng mga teachers when we see that our learners are not really learning. No, and that's painful in our part, and that's also painful on their end, no? Hindi lang tayo yung na-frustrate, but sila din, no? It is not easy sa part din ng mga bata na hindi sila matuto, no? So, it may be good to make our students realize that learning is a difficult task and it is accompanied by sacrifice, inconvenience, and discomfort. And that's one of the challenges that they need to overcome as learners, no? Okay. So, next, the principle number 7, one of the richest resources for learning is the learner himself. So, balikan natin yung sa number 1. Ibang sinabi ko sa number 1, sa number 1, learning is an experience which occurs inside the learner and is activated by the learner. So, it is connected with the principle number 7 that ang resources, ang pinaka-rich na resources ng isang bata ay ang kanyang sarili. Okay? O kung ayaw niyang mag-effort, then wala siya talagang matututunan. No? So in a day, each individual has an accumulation of experiences, ideas, feelings, and attitudes which comprise a rich vein of material for problem solving and learning. So, all too often, this vein is barely tapped. So, situations which enable people to become open to themselves, to draw upon their personal collection of data, and to share their data in cooperative interaction with others maximize learning. So, as a teacher, you must draw these learners' ideas, feelings, and experiences. Kumaga, you midwife the birth of ideas. And this is too deep, no, to digest. You midwife the birth of ideas. Kumaga, the ideas are already there. It's up to you kung paano mo siya paanakin. No? Yun yung role ng mga teacher. And that's very challenging. In today's age, it's very challenging, no? Na you facilitate the learners, specifically that they're really distracted with different things. Okay? Next, we have the principle number 8. The process of learning is emotional as well as intellectual. So learning is affected by the total state of the individual. Okay? So people are feeling beings. They also feel as well as thinking beings. And when their feelings and thoughts are in harmony, learning is maximized. Kumbaga kung nakakondisyon yung utak nila, no? And then yung feelings nila or yung emotions nila, and then they can learn anything. Okay? So to create the optimal condition in a group for learning to occur, people must come before purpose. So regardless of the purpose of a group, it cannot be effectively accomplished when other things get in the way. So as teachers, let us appeal to our students' intellect as well as to their emotions. Okay, so yan yung minimin sa principle number 8. Then sa principle number 9 naman, the process of problem solving and learning is highly unique and individual. Meaning to say, each person has his own unique styles of learning and solving problems. If meron ka mang na-present na equation mo or formula mo, iba yung way ng ibang bata, no? Baka may iba din siyang strategy. Okay? So some personal styles of learning and problem solving are highly effective. Other styles are not as effective and still others may be ineffective. So we need to assist people to define and to make explicit to themselves the approaches they ordinarily use so that they can become more effective in problem solving and learning. Okay? So, as people become more aware of how they learn and solve problems and become exposed to alternative models used by other people, then they can refine and modify their personal style so that this can be employed more effectively. Okay? Students learn, meaning sa principle number 9, minimin natin, din natin dito ay students learn in accordance with their unique learning styles and multiple intelligences. Babalik at babalik tayo sa learning style nila. No? So, each of us has different learning styles, no? And multiple intelligences. So I think that's the end of the discussion on the principles of learning.